What's up, Agency Go fam? So I now have been able to scale over a dozen different closers. Some of them have stayed longer with my business and some of them haven't stayed as long. Right now I currently have 5 different sales reps who are closers on my team and a bunch of appointment setters. And in this video, I wanted to show you exactly how you can scale a closer to over $100,000 in sales and commission a year very quickly and rapidly within your agency. This is something that a lot of people have struggled to figure out. And in this video, I'm going to go in detail for the first time and really map out all the modeling behind how to actually grow and scale a sales rep and a team of sales reps within your agency. So let's jump into it.
Okay, so when you're thinking about paying your sales reps commission and you want to actually scale that up as part of your service or your software product or whatever it is, specifically as an agency owner, the way you want to think about it is a little complex, but once you get down the basics of it, then it's going to be pretty easy to rinse and repeat going forward. So when you bring on a new sales rep, you're going to need to give them a independent sales rep agreement. If they're a contractor, if they're an employee, you have a whole set of other agreements that you're going to want to give them. But the idea is that once you actually have the contracts created, then you hand them off to this sales rep that you bring on. Now, I can make a whole nother video on how to find sales reps, how to vet sales reps, which I actually have done, which if you want to see how to scale sales reps, you can watch this video right here, and it'll show you how to scale sales reps. But the idea is that if you've already gotten the sales rep, now you have to scale up their commission model, right? And how do you do that effectively without pissing off a sales rep or giving them the wrong commission model or paying too much money? There's a certain way that I've found out now that I've actually scaled like over a dozen sales reps. I know the right way of doing this and the wrong way of doing it. So bear with me and we're gonna start things off. So with a quick little recap of the previous video, I talk about how you should scale sales reps up. You shouldn't start them off full time if you can help it for most businesses. Unless you have a lot of funding or something, you should start them off part time. But the idea is that when you have this contract in place, which by the way, if you don't have the contract, you can actually get the full contracts and everything else inside here. This is over $3,000 of value that I've actually spent $3,000 and or more on legal to actually build all of these sales contracts, and these are exclusively inside Agency Go. So if you want access to them, you can join Agency Go. All the contracts are in here, the Agency Sales Team Foundations contract stack, which you have access to as an Agency Go member. But essentially what you want is you want to either build them yourself or join the membership. But if you build it yourself, what you can want to do is, if you have something kind of like this, it is pretty boilerplate. So a lot of these clauses and terms and everything are pretty boilerplate. But the main meat and potatoes is kind of like down here at the bottom, right? So basically what you want to do is you want to come up with a contract that has something simple, right? So for anything that this new sales rep, Nick, closes from my marketing agency, Twist Marketing, I have this model set up, which is 1% of the first month payment, or 40% of the first month payment received if it comes from their book of business, 30% if it comes from my book of business, and 20% if there's a referral from our book of business that they then close. And then that way we can pay out the referral commission, we can pay out their commission, and everything's clean. Now, as you'll notice, I don't have residual commission because I really don't like residual commission. I think that at a certain point, especially for marketing agencies, unless the person closing the deals is also managing the accounts, it becomes ridiculous to pay this person a residual commission because you're basically just paying them for work that they're no longer even doing. They're not even helping the account in any way, shape, or form. So it just becomes too tedious. It doesn't really make a lot of sense in my opinion. So the things that I look at first and foremost is basically I'll think about it as how fast can I get somebody to $8,000 a month in revenue. So for instance, I'll just write that out, get to 8K per month in not revenue, but in their commission. Their OTE is what it's called, right? You want to get people to this month as fast as possible because this is the number that people tell their friends about, they get really excited about, and when they can get to 8K per month, that's when things really start to go parabolic for them. So let me zoom in here a little bit so you guys can see the breakdown. So essentially, this is how I'd look at it. So I'd say, how fast can I get to 8K per month? That's question number one, this in OTE, right? And then you have to break down your model. So for us, it's pretty simple. What I do is every membership is $97 per month, and they get $150 in commission within 30 days for any of the memberships that they close. And if this person does a refund or something, which doesn't happen to us, but let's say they do, then that doesn't count. They have to stay for 2 months. And then if I pay them out and the next month happens, then they get their commission refunded, essentially, right? That's how it works. So let's say I have my minimum, which for this person, if I scroll down to here, this is what I said is my minimum. I say, basically you have to close 20 at minimum monthly subscriptions in order to keep staying as a contractor. That's your actual minimum quota. So I always set that. So assuming that's the minimum, right? Then basically times, or actually it's times 20. It's actually 150 because this is the commission I'm paying out, times 20 equals, so let me pull up the calculator, times 150 times 20. They have to at minimum be making $3,000 in commission, right? And if they're, so that's kind of like the base level. If they just hit the quota, they can hit $3,000 in commission. Now, that's not something that a sales rep's going to go and tell their friends about. And ultimately what you want your sales reps to tell people how good your offer is, so you have a long list of awesome sales reps. And one thing I've noticed about closers and sales reps in general is if you have a really good offer, they'll just come out of nowhere to work for you. Like they'll just come out of nowhere, they'll tell their friends about it, they'll line up at your door, they'll really want to work with you. So you want to get something really good. So assuming that it's 150 is their commission times 20, that's nothing that they're going to write home about. Now, the thing is that with Agency Go, they are capable of closing. So Nick, he's in his second week. So if you go back here, we started him off here on the 22nd. And he's already about to close 31 memberships, I think, so far. And so he's on track for about 40 until this time, this is when we pay the commission out on the 19th, right? So the idea is that if he gets to 40, right, in month one, then it becomes really exciting because it's 150 times 40 equals, let's say, well, it's easy, that's $6,000, right? Now, what I think the actual target should be, so month one, that's cool. He's gonna actually get $6,000 up front, which is pretty dope, right? What I think the actual target should be 150 times 50, because I think it's very possible for someone to close 50 memberships. And I can talk more in another video if you guys want. Just comment below if you have any questions on any of the things I'm saying right now. But basically 150 times 50, right? Let's say 7,500. I think it's very possible for someone just for selling the memberships in Agency Go to make $7,500 in commission payments, right? And if they do that, that's really exciting. That's really attractive for an agency owner or for a closer. They can literally make 6 figures as a run rate starting in month one just from following my process, right? That's pretty cool, pretty attractive for them, right? So now that's just the base, right? That's just what's expected from me to like really incentivize this person to keep going, and that's like the number I want them to aim for. But the cool thing, and this is why I use the 8K number, is how fast can you get to here? Because let's say your model doesn't allow for this much commission right away. Like let's say it's a slower sales cycle and everything like that. This is exactly why companies offer downsell options. So for instance, one of my partners right now, he has an option that is really cool to sell. So like he's a $2,000 monthly retainer, but the thing is he doesn't get as many sales from that because it's more of a longer sales cycle, right? So this sales rep, if he just sold that $2,000 per month plan to the partner service, then he would realize commission slower, which would be not as fun for the sales rep, which means he's not going to tell his friends about it as much, which is going to be less word of mouth, less virality, and less people lining up your door to close for you, right? So if that's the case, if there's a gap between, let's say the on-target commission month one for a closer is like $4,000, then you got to find a way to get them another $4,000 in commissions so that they stay really excited and stay with you, right? So ultimately, that's when you can offer like a downsell, like a membership or a course or something like that, and you can have them rack up something that costs nothing and then basically has a huge margin so you can pay them out commission. So that's the exciting thing. So I would really recommend that if you can't get to $8,000 in commission payouts to your closer right away, then you should really think about how can you structure your offers and how can you offer additional products or services to get to $8,000. That's really like the key. So for me, just from selling the memberships, I'm able to get to $8,000. Now, let's assume that 10% of people also sell into a marketing service from here. All of our average marketing services, let's just say, because we give people discounts who are Agency Go members, let's just say like it's a 30% discount residual if you're an Agency Go member, and only if you're an Agency Go member for Twiz marketing services, right? So let's say 1,500 is the average because it's that way. Well, we also do 10% of the marketing services sales. So let's say it's 1,500. He gets, of the first month, he gets 10% of this because it's already discounted. So 10% times 5, right? So that number is the extra commission he's going to get on top. 150 times 5, 750, right? So 750, and you could always tweak this. Like you can find other ways. You can maybe mark up your prices. You can figure out something so he's getting more commission. But let's say that's the case. 7,500 plus 750. Now his total is a little bit more attractive, which is nice. 8,250. So now he's on track for that 8,000 number, like I was saying. So the cool thing, so let's just say round up 8,300, right? And also there's ways that he could sell like upfront subscriptions and all these things to get the numbers higher as well. But let's say it's 8,300. 8,300 times 12, again, everyone knows this math because it's how you usually calculate annual run rate. 8,300 times 12, now you have someone making 100 grand a year. And the faster you can get someone to get paid on track for 100 grand a year, the more excited people are going to be, and the more they're going to tell their friends, and the better closers you're going to be able to get. Because if you can pay people 8 grand month one, you're going to get people who are super excited and ready to scale with you. Now the thing is, let's say you have this all figured out. Let's say you have the right contracts. Let's say you have everything in one place, and you have figured out a way to get their on-target earnings to be close to $88,000 per month right away in month one, and they're having this huge wow factor, and the offer is super good for them. Now, what do you do in order to actually scale up their what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I remember. So let's say that so one thing that I do in order to get people really excited right off the bat and get them going is I pay them in advance. And this is really popular in the music industry. Basically, the way I structure it is like this. I say Twiz LLC will pay the sales rep a monthly retainer of $1 grand, paid 5 days after the contract is signed. In order to continue receiving this monthly retainer, I'll zoom in. Oh, that's way too far. My bad. Let me go down. There we go. In order to continue receiving this monthly retainer, the sales rep must close at minimum $2,000 in Agent Skill membership subscriptions, right? For example, 21 monthly subscriptions multiplied by 97 per month equals 2,037. This is a minimum requirement for this retainer. Also, enough of these subscriptions must stay for at minimum 2 billing cycles without chargebacks or refunds for the minimum to be considered met. If 2 of the 21 subscriptions request a refund 30 days after being signed, then the sales rep will have their monthly retainer discontinued unless Twiz LLC gives written notice otherwise. However, Twiz LLC is able to discontinue this retainer with a 14-day notice at any time and for any reason. If the payment is due within the 14-day cancellation window, Twiz LLC must still pay the sales rep on the invoice date. While the sales rep will receive commission for closing Twiz marketing service retainers, the minimum threshold to keep this retainer specifically in regards to the agency memberships. Clear as day, right? Now the thing is that when you're doing this, what I like to do is I do an advance. So I pay someone in advance of actually receiving commission with the expectation that they're going to exceed that in commission. So for example, with Nick right now, again, like if I pull up his numbers, he's already on track for well above 1,000. So he's going to get 6 grand. He's not going to get 1,000 plus 6 grand. He's going to get 6 grand total because that's how a draw works, right? It's a draw on commission. You have your advance, which you pay up front, and then you have a draw. So if your commission exceeds the amount that you paid as the retainer, then you don't pay the retainer, you pay essentially just the commission. But for whatever reason they don't hit that number, they just get the retainer and that's it. And if they don't hit that number, if they don't exceed it, then they don't keep getting the retainer because you basically discontinue services with them. But this is basically an advance. This happens very often in the music industry where somebody will advance you like $100,000 and then you have to make it up in sales to basically grow and scale with commission and things like that, like residual royalties is what they call it in the music industry. So same kind of deal here. But essentially, that's how it works. And I have this mapped out here as well if you want to snag this. And again, if you want all of this, you can sign up for Agency Go. It's $97 per month. You get a 30-day money-back guarantee. And from there, you can basically get access to $3,000 of legal contracts just in here. I've already spent money on them for my own agency. You get them to scale your sales team, right? So hopefully this has been helpful in calculating commission and figuring out the best way to grow and scale sales reps. Again, the biggest thing is that you got to get them to this $8,000 per month OTE as quickly as possible. And if you're not there, you have to figure out additional products, partnerships, or services that you can sell to get this closer there as quickly as possible. The faster you can get them there, the faster they're going to actually tell their friends about it and give you a huge, long waiting list of closers that want to close, scale for you, and die for you. That's what you want, right? Not literally, figuratively. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I'm going to be making a lot of stuff just like this. I really appreciate everybody in the Agency Go community, and feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Definitely share this material if you have anybody who you know is would be helpful to see this. And I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.